We're live.
$7:59. We're back. All right. We left off at Behan Park.
Yes, sir, 14.7. So essentially what we're talking about is that right now it's a roof repair. But if you want to give direction to have the building replaced, we can go with an RFP and design and build type RFP to provide us with what we need. But we do have the quotes necessary for the different design, because there's a variety of different designs that you can take a look at, and how much we want to serve the public with the building and the facilities, because we can, I mean, the sky's the limit. It's just what we can associate spending.
How
There are
about
variety.
we look at a remodel?
A remodel of the building,
Yeah.
okay, in place where it is.
Place where it is. Do we need to move it?
So it's right there next to a fence, and where the less desirable people of our community find it a place to sleep in some cases, to
That would be that entire park.
coitus, whatever they can do in that area. So I would go so far as to say is that it needs to be moved out from that, because they've cut holes in the fence, because these are areas where they can hide. And so there's a great deal of talk about what to do with that park, and what kind of buildings we could put there to provide a better service for the community there. So you just give me the direction. I can give you a PowerPoint presentation with 4 or 5 different ideas that we have and the direction we go. But based on the quotes that we receive, it's not cheap.
How much use is that park getting? I mean, other than the Girl Scouts?
We don't track the use, sir.
You don't track the use?
No, we don't track the use of that park. But we do have the capacity to rent the pavilions there. And I can get that data for you. I don't have that for you now, but I can tell you how many times the pavilion has been rented.
I see, okay. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And I'm all for it. We talked about it. It's just, to the building officials' point, that when they said that kind of money, it was just like, okay, that's the end of that conversation. Let's move on. And that's how we got to where we are now with replacing the.
I would laugh as I got up from the table for $800,000 for that tiny little building.
And we have a variety of different, and none was any better. We had a variety of different types of building structures that we could put. And we have an octagon-shaped one that is very popular, just the 2 restrooms, but I didn't think that would provide enough service for us, because, like I said, we have a golf cart and a meeting room there. So we've looked at a variety of different scenarios.
Have you seen the, down by the railroad tracks in Hollandale there, have you seen where they just took 2 storage trailers and made a nice looking building out of it?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about, and our code doesn't allow for us to bring in those
Those
Connex
containers
boxes.
are banned in the town.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Even though we have people with them, but
Yep.
they're banned.
There's a special permit they can use for temporary times.
Yeah, associated with
But
construction.
at $800,000 for that, I would turn in my airline transport license and become a contractor. Because I'm missing out on money.
I'm in with you, sir.
So, let's come up with a couple options, put something
Okay.
together. Either remodel, but I'm tired of putting Band-Aids on stuff around here on things that are
I
gonna
agree
fall down.
110%.
So it's pointless to keep doing that. So, let's come up with a couple ideas.
But in
And,
the interim, can I get the roof repaired?
how much is the roof on this one?
Should be a quote on.
I'm looking, I'm going back to it.
7,800.
Should be a quote. I don't.
7,800 for that?
That's a small building.
And the roof is in disrepair, so we have to go in there and change some of the structure of it. So. To be
So
honest with you.
the roof is not structurally sound, is that
No,
what
sir.
you're saying?
No, sir.
You know what, let's just wait to the next workshop and come up with some solutions before we invest any more money into this building.
So we're tabling that one?
Table this one to the next workshop and let's come up with some better solutions.
I'm fine with that.
Yes, sir.
You all right with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not that familiar with the building.
You know where it is?
I know where it is, but I'm not familiar with the layout.
I'll take you over there and open it up for you, let you look around whenever you want, or one of my team.
Bring your nose plug. All right. 14.8 Stormwater Master Plan.
What we've done is that we followed through your direction. Now we're asking to spend the money. We've put together the stormwater master plan proposal, and that's what we want to move forward. So we're requesting consent from the commission to go ahead and pay that money.
And I just want to confirm this is coming out of the stormwater funding plus that $75,000 grant.
I hadn't attached a grant to it, but if there's a $75,000 grant, yes, we
I
offset.
thought we had a grant approved on this.
I thought I saw a line item on the budget, but I don't have a budget sitting here in front of me.
Roy, I hate to put you on the spot, but did you happen to see that when you were going through anything? JC, do you recall?
I don't recall a grant for the stormwater master plan.
I thought we had a grant for the stormwater master
Not a
plan.
grant.
I don't think so. Is there a grant?
No, we don't have a grant. However, we applied for a grant,
We applied for one,
right?
and we didn't get it.
No, apparently, since we already in July, most likely it's gonna be, we have to resubmit it.
Okay. I know we do have the money available in
Stormwater fund.
our stormwater fund.
Yeah, we have funds available for it, and then we did have a budget line for it. But that's sort of typically in the update. But not for that much. Not for that much.
Okay. 140, what is it?
43,000.
143.5, yeah.
43.5. All right. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
This is the stormwater master plan.
Right.
The last one was done
22, I think?
22 years ago, 21 years ago?
2000, year 2000 was last
Oh.
time it was done.
It was 22 years ago.
Yeah, 22 years ago. And to be in compliance, how often are they supposed to be done?
Every 5 years, we're supposed to have an update on the system.
Just, I want you guys to see how far out we are on getting this done properly. So,
So you're going to do a not to exceed thing on it. We'll put it in.
nope, total cost is 143.5.
Yeah, that's the
We'll
quote.
put it in exactly for that. That's the quote. So put this on the consent agenda, please.
Done.
$14.9 FPL generators in Town Hall, stormwater pump station number 1.
We presented to the commission about this one. This was one of the issues that was brought to my attention about what we're going to do about the generator. So we were speaking earlier this evening about sizing the generator and making sure that the right generator for the job. When I first came on board, through your direction, it was to do some assessment of the building, and I proffered some suggestions as to the direction that we want to go. This happens to be one. I believe that this is, through my recommendation, is the most effective methodology because it's supported by an engineering firm as well as a public utility or a utility.
Okay, we got to stop for a second. Your live feed isn't working again. Sorry to interrupt.
It's showing that it's up and running. I did have to change over to the public notice video.
Okay, I just got a text saying the meeting's still not working.
No, I recreated another video, not in that meeting.
They're
But
on the
through
new
the
meeting.
public
They're on the new
notice.
meeting.
Huh?
And they're on the new meeting, and it says it's not working.
Right.
Want to double check real quick before
It's
we
working.
proceed?
Yeah.
It's working.
Working?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Perfect. Okay. Just want to make sure. Double check. It's worth it.
It's fine.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, through the recommendation is we're supported by an engineering firm that is experts in dealing with generators, as well as the utility FPNL. This is a partnership between the two, and they have the numbers. Can you click that proposal? Can I click it? So the holdup through through communicating with the town manager is that we needed a CFO to see if we could afford it.
This is the presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I am so much for it is because we wash our hands of the responsibility of providing the town with the maintenance and upkeep and the overall expense and experience that we would have to contend with. We bring two major players, 360 Engineering Solutions as well as FP&L. It will be FP&L's responsibility, and we'll be at the head of the line if we were ever to have an issue. And they would do all the engineering plus replace the switchgear. So this is a one-stop shop solution.
Okay, I don't see the total price on this though.
So you would have to do the cost to where it says in that particular scope where I can't step
I
away
see the
from
financial impact is $598 to $5,208 per month.
Okay, so the difference between the two of them, if you look at it and say the contract term 10 years and you have an open transition and closed transition, the difference between the open and closed transition is based on whether you like hospitals would normally use it. I don't want to get too much involved, but we don't necessarily need the closed transition, so we can go with the less expensive model. And then that's 90% of the cost when it talks about the buy down, and then based on the payment. So if you were to do the 90% equation against the 496, will give you the total cost of the machine. And then that's over a 20-year period and a 10-year period. And so our previous CFO suggested a couple different methodologies, which you brought here was the buy down. And so therefore we can come up with zero money out of pocket, and we could pay a monthly of $6,000, or we can pay 90% of the actual cost, and we would have a $699 a month.
So does our town Harding grant cover the $400,000 on this?
So I didn't explore that because in this particular case, we're looking at something as a bill as opposed to an actual total expenditure. But that may very well be something that we could take a look at. But at this point, I don't think we can.
I'd rather not spend the money if we have the money slated in another area for it. You know what I mean?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, my deputy looked into it, and she made it, clear that this wasn't qualified. There's certain parameters you got to meet in order to qualify for this money.
So you're looking at the 20-year?
I would look for just buying that thing outright and be done with it. And we spread the cost across all departments because all departments would utilize it. Maybe except the Parks Department, but if the police department picked up a piece, if the building department picked up a piece, and I picked up a piece, and then the general pick up a piece, then it would break down pretty easily, and I think that we all probably could afford it. And then we're talking about state-of-the-art. It's going to operate off of natural gas, and it's going to be their problem, not ours.
So going back to the PW for the, where were we? 14.5 of the $50,000 for that. How does that play into going this direction if we go this direction?
So the other way we have to scope out, and I'm requesting that we scope out everything, scope and fees, and then we have a design and manage process.
Never put these three.
We will have a design and manage process for that, and then all of those costs will be brought into that. So we would need a scope and fees associated with it through our CCNA for them to identify it and take load calculations. All of that stuff was done, and they did that off a phone call. I called my guy. My guy showed up with a team of people and said, hey, we'll put that all in play for you. Now, because we've been dealing what we've been dealing with supply chain issues, we might have to add our standard 30% kicker. But FPNL themselves came out and did a presentation for the manager and I and the former CFO. I can't speak for the manager, but, you know, to me, this is the headache-free methodology of going across it. And then that would satisfy our needs for a EEOC. Or EOC, I'm sorry.
Mayor, if I may, I'm going to ask that we bring this back. I'm going to I want to double check.
I want to double check
on
too,
the grant,
so.
on the actual grant itself. And then also, this is also an ARPA fund eligible that we can use this for as well. But I do want to bring this back. There's some questions that have arisen that I need answered myself, and so I want to bring this back.
Do you want to put this on to the next,
Next workshop.
next workshop? How about we put, 14.5? 14.5, which is the generator for town hall,
Yeah.
along with 14.9. Move both of those to the next workshop. That way we can discuss it all at once instead of two
Yes.
different directions.
Instead of piecemeal, yeah, makes sense.
You want me to bring the experts in?
Give us 2 weeks. We'll figure that out.
Got it.
So we're changing 14.5, that we were putting it as a line item, and now we're moving it, we're condensing it with 14.5 and 14.9?
14.9 and 14.5 to the next workshop.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys have any more questions on that?
No, I don't.
All right. 14.10.
1410, sir. Proposal for the wastewater master plan as we have it. It's more expensive than the stormwater master plan, but there again, we're 22 years out.
What's the plan on these to keep these compliant?
Update them every 5 years, sir.
Yes, sir.
But the update won't be a full 147,000 or 140 something.
I get it, but we're putting a plan in place so this doesn't happen a second
Absolutely.
time. Because we're 22 years behind on this.
Yes, we just
realize
budgeted
that.
for it. Yes, sir.
You know, I'm tired of these calls of not being in compliant from people and being this far behind, and we're playing catch up, and we don't even know what the next surprise is. Who knows what tomorrow's going to bring to me?
Every 5 years, sir. These two, stormwater and wastewater, will get updated every 5 years.
All right. Make sure there's something written that happens, because it's unacceptable that it's, and I understand it's not your fault or any of ours up here, because we came into this. This is just unacceptable. What's the cost on this one?
Over 300.
Gotta bring it up. It, 2 something, was it?
372.
Over 300, sir.
What kind of grants do we have on this?
No grants will qualify for this one that I'm aware of.
272,000. 400,000.
Well, you brought it to my attention, sir, that we need to move forward on these two projects.
I did.
The stormwater and the stormwater master plan and sewer water master plan, in order to put us in play.
I got it.
For moving
We got a
forward,
lot
yes,
of money available for us going forward, so these do both have to be completed, and we do have the funds available in the stormwater fund
Sewer fund.
And
as
sewer
well.
and the
fund.
sewer fund.
And I want to add one more thing to this point, sir, is that the master plan gives us the plan where the what's the best word to put it, where the landmines are. So through this master plan identifies our area, our sense of urgency. So if you remember when you first told me when I first started, hey, prioritize, this master plan prioritizes it for us.
I get it, that we can't get funds without it being done. It's frankly embarrassing to me that we're 22 years behind on both of these.
Yes.
That this town is that far behind, that the previous commission let this happen. So I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, I don't have any questions. I've read through the thing on it. Do you have any?
No.
Ray? Okay. We have the funding available, so put this on the consent for $372,490 for the wastewater master plan update. These are like the surprises of this $700,000 loan that we were unaware of that we had to pay off. You know, these surprises are not surprises we should be having, you know. It's everyone needs to keep looking into their department so we don't have things like this popping up. And I understand this is something you worked on from the moment you got here. But there's been people here before you that just let this happen. And frankly, I'm tired of it. You can't run a place like this. And it's embarrassing because everyone is looking at us when it comes to items like this.
Yes.
No. All right. Town assessment. I'm almost afraid to ask. 1411 town assessment. Public Services Director Clark.
So unfortunately, the firm that we went out to, the guy went out on vacation or sick or something like that, and he couldn't get me the quote prior to me getting it over to Marlon. Miriam, did he come in with the quote? No. So we'll have to just hold off until we have the quote. I can forward it to the manager. The manager can
Send it to us.
send it to you. You can look at it, and then maybe we can get it on the agenda for the voting meeting to get all three moved forward.
It's going to have to be workshop for discussion.
Well, this is a part of your guidance again, sir, with
I
your
realize.
direction. Okay. All right.
We're going to have to discuss it. Actually, put it as line item. Just plan for discussion at the meeting on this.
On the voting meeting or the
Voting
workshop?
meeting.
On the voting meeting is a line item? Okay.
As long as the information is provided in plenty of time.
Yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't have it within 2 weeks.
Okay, if not, make sure it's pulled from the agenda, please.
I will, sir.
All right. Do you guys have any more questions for him?
No.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Are we gonna go straight into 17, or you want me to hang out here, or give it a few?
Hang out. It looks like you're up next. 15, old business, there's none. 16, new business, there's none. 17, we're at discussion. Have a great night, Mr. Severson. See you.
I can see we got a ton of stuff to work on.
I got a whole lot, so expect a phone call very soon. Let's go to 17. I took some pictures. I went out, walked. This is my item. A long time back, Ray should remember when we were here, we spent $18,000 on a fence in the park. This fence cuts off the portion of the preserve. Now, it was put in place under the premise that people would go out and eat spoiled foods and sue the town. That was the whole thing to prevent the fence putting in place, which is not actually the case. But since the fence got put up, this sign, the park is temporarily closed. It's almost a permanent statement at our park. It divides unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't put an overhead view and show what this looks like, but I believe you two have been over there and see how much of this park, it cuts out a giant portion of our park where we actually just spent a lot of money on a walkway for this side of the park that can't even be used because this fence is here. So I met with the manager, I met with Rob. We discussed removing this fence and opening our park back up in its entirety. And the one caveat to this is there's a corner, which I don't know if there's a corner of the path that we could add in a small walkway that it goes from the half-mile loop around the park. We can add a portion that puts you right onto that walkway as well. That brings that walkway in instead of having 90-degree turns for our morning runners that are in the park. This way it...
I don't think there's any liability if somebody
No,
eating a
but-
piece of fruit off a tree and then suing the town.
Now, I'm not even concerned about that. I'm adding this little, I want to add a little bit of walkway to connect the path to the main path of the
Yeah,
park.
sure.
So, so the approval on this would be, one, to remove the park just separately remove the park, or I'm sorry, not the park,
Remove the fence.
remove the fence to make the park back whole. The second would be for you to go out and get an estimate to put in that path to connect the two.
Yes, sir.
Do we use that fence anywhere?
We're gonna have to. I'm not throwing that away.
Yeah, that looks like good fence. So.
Yeah, it's good fence. The downside is the poles because they're concrete poured.
Well, you always just get new ones.
But it's the demo, meaning that we gotta pull them. So I gotta run. It's a challenge, but that's all right. We'll get it done. No sweat.
Ray, are you all right with that?
South side of the garden, Mr. Clark?
Say again, sir?
South side of the garden?
What
Will
about?
probably be used there where the storage houses are?
No. That's,
no.
that's,
That's a whole area.
this is not part of that. This goes from over here where the church is. Right here. Over here where the church is. It comes down, let me do this.
Marlon, can you
No, no,
can
I'm
you
saying
go
to use
to
that.
Google?
Whenever we remove
Oh,
from
you want to
here.
use it to move over there to the damaged fence?
Right.
Oh, yes, that was the plan. I discussed it with my Parks and Rec team today, as a matter of fact. And so we were going to roll up the fence and then utilize the fence where the damaged fence areas are within the park, and or in front of where we're going to take the gate and replace that gate with the gate that we have out in front along Southwest 52nd. And make the necessary improvements over there. There will be an expense associated with it because we're not set up to, take down and move fence. But
This is all something
we're
we
not
could do
interested in
in-house.
throwing it away. We may or may not be able to do it
Right
in-house.
here.
We just have to look at the scope.
The fence goes from right here at a 90 up to this corner here. So
we
it
have
just
a
comes
post
out
hole
at a
digger?
90
I'm sorry.
Do we have a post hole digger?
Look at it yesterday, actually.
right there. Sorry, let's see here.
Gas operated,
90
you know.
fence right there. Line goes from right here
Right, yeah, I've been.
straight up.
We'll make sure, Mayor, also make sure that we get any permits that are needed to resolve this.
Yes.
I would
wanna
like
get
to
in
also clarify this park temporarily closed sign. That was put during the construction of the trail, only because as long as the trail work wasn't finalized and according to FERDAP, we will not let anybody go into just in case. So that's why we had that sign. But otherwise, that gate will be open and people
I walk
can.
the park a lot,
Yeah, it's been
closed all
closed
the
for a
time.
while. I agree.
closed
I agree.
all the time. It
it
cuts off a huge
shouldn't-
portion of the park to be used.
Right. But that's why we had this.
All we need is direction. If you guys agree, we'll.
Direction, do the
I'll make it
fence what you
happen.
need to do.
Right.
And then direction would be to get an estimate on
The path.
fixing the path, that corner, that 90 there, and straightening it, or connecting the
We'll
pathways.
get a picture and when we get a chance to meet, sir, we'll talk about exactly how the path.
Perfect.
Go on that.
Draw it out for you, or we'll
Yes, sir.
walk over and talk.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You all right with that?
Yep.
Okay. 17.2. All right. This is mine. We have budgeted for Christmas decorations. We have budgeted $25,000 that we had last year, going forward to next year as well. So I wanted to change things up for our Christmas party, seeing how the town has done the same exact thing year after year after year. What I wanted to discuss with the commission is the change to the party itself, or the event itself. And instead of doing the small little thing we do over here, this year we do it over in the park. We spend the money to have all our trees lit up in the park. We're gonna have to work with the Public Works Director to find a solution and a cost to do that. At the same time, for our event, instead of going out and we spend approximately $4,000 a year, or we're budgeted for $4,000 a year for toys for the residents, we actually spend a day, say from noon till 9 p.m. in the park. We invite our 600 businesses that we have here in town to put up booths in the park. In exchange for them having their booth, instead of having them contribute or pay that they normally do for events. We have them contribute roughly $250 in toys or bicycles. If they donate a bike, they have to donate it with the helmet. Now, instead of limiting this, as we've done in the past, to just Pembroke Park, we can open it up as most of the residents of Lake Forest attend every event we have over here. So this was an idea to kind of change things around, have some food trucks come out and have a full day event over in the park, inviting our businesses to start with, and then putting it out for other artists, businesses in the community to have a full day event over there versus our few hours in the evening that we do, where last year it was just a drive-through, you know, my parents dressed as Santa. We're going to have to find another Santa this year. My parents aren't going to be here for Christmas. So I think there's some volunteers in the police department that want to.
Gee, Howard.
He does look like Santa, so we just got to put the beard on him. So there's a voluntold situation, you know, so, but got to get Mrs. Santa too, though. So, you know.
He'll probably have a white beard by the time Christmas.
Anyways, I want to change it up this year and do something different, and it opens it up to the community a little more. Joy is our events planner right now. We are going to be bringing another one in soon, as we discussed a little bit ago. But I think we can change things from the old ways around here and bring some new life into this town by doing it just a little different. So, you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a good mission.
Still bounce houses through the day, have a stage with, you know,
Have some music.
music performances, stuff that we've been missing for a while here in this town. So, kind of bring back the local community into what we have. So,
Sounds like a great idea to me.
all right, I'll get it all back together and bring it back to the commission so you guys can see what everything is once we have it all written out. But I just wanted to bring it up so I can go forward with the Public Works Director on lighting for the lighting of our trees and lighting up the park
All the trees?
as much as we can.
Got it.
So preferably around the outside and work our way in.
Yes.
Especially around the paths. You're gonna need light.
Yeah.
You lit up the whole season or just for that event?
Well, we'll have the ability maybe all season. A lot of them just keep them in there. It's a lot of work, take them up and down. So
It is.
we'll come up with the solution.
At the Christmas season?
Yeah, we can light it up the whole season. That's not a problem. But for a day of an event, I'm looking sometime at the beginning of December. So I haven't set the day, as I'm working with Joy on trying to finalize everything in writing. But I want to get ahead of the curve. Like last year, we kind of behind the curve on the decorations for the streets. Here it is July. We can start early.
We need a lot of decorations.
Yeah. So that
By the way, I have the new presentation for the street that, for Hallandale Beach Boulevard. I can forward that to the manager and he can disseminate it amongst you.
Okay.
We have the new proposal.
All right. So we got
Got it
this
today.
for the trees. So I don't think this doesn't need a vote on it, does it? JC, this is direction
Direction to
to get
prices and.
get the pricing.
Yes.
Light up the park, please.
Light up the park.
All right.
Operation Park Light Up.
There we go.
Got it.
So I'll get some hot air balloon guys to come out too. What do you think? I'm kidding. We don't have that much room over there. 17.3, repair or renovation of the preserve building, Vice Mayor DeVille.
I mean, we touched on this already. I just want to know where we at, like maybe
First-
get a cost, if we can go out for grant, we know what we're working with as far as cost.
Right.
So that was just direction for Mr. Clark to go out and let us know the extent of the damage and what's the
sir.
best option.
So first step was the roof. We need a tight roof, but I can do an all-encompassing improvement. But the first step was the roof. The second step was the restroom over there to fix those restrooms. Everything else is pretty
I think
solid.
it's underutilized. you
It
know,
is.
So we can use it for activities, parties,
Now
summer
we gotta
camp.
we gotta
It's,
understand that it's been brought to my attention that hammer to nail, we have to bring everything up to code.
Right.
So we must make that, bring that into play. Everything has to be up to code. It's going to be very difficult to bring that building up to code, in particular ADA requirements and things of that nature. So I'll work with the building official. He has GC experience, and of course you are invited to share your ideas about how you think things go, and then we'll get together and brainstorm. I know that the mayor and I had went over there, and I had shared some ideas with him on how to fix it, so we can get it done. It's not-
And I just want to emphasize again, we're maxed out on grants right now until we get some off the table and we get some cleared. Then we can start going out. We got to get rid of some of these projects that have been around longer than we have. Longer than management has, longer than Rob's been here.
Yes, sir.
Almost as long as Lucy's been here. But we gotta get these off the table before we can really get something going. Rob, I need you to look into, it was mentioned, and I just want to make sure it's not there, that this was a historical building in the past. We don't know the legitimacy of that statement. Just to make sure that's not an issue going forward.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions?
No, I know some people in Broward County in the historic preservation realm, so I can check also, see if I can get information for you.
Okay. It's an old building in very sad shape. All right, 17.4, adding speed humps on 52nd Avenue or Highway 52 as it's well known around here.
Exactly what it is. Again, it's directions for Rob to go out, see what it would cost to get speed humps, because I'm hearing it from the residents, and I've witnessed it myself on
I
a
too.
daily basis. Those guys are flying through 52nd Avenue.
I too have experienced it, and we have a plan. The deputy and I we're working towards the surtax issue associated with our projects that we have in play, and so we want to move forward with those, and then we should be able to get a bike lane and get the road.
Isn't that ice-slip money that we were supposed to get project money that we were supposed to get?
The C-slip,
Yeah, C-slip, I'm sorry.
that's one of the, that's one of the.
It's one of the things,
the
the
bike
bike,
lanes
the
and stuff
bike
like that.
lane,
But
yeah.
speed humps was, not sure if that was included in there.
Speed humps are easy to fix, so we just want to do it all at one time, and we have some things that we want to get with the public utilities in that road, make sure that.
Yeah, I know we're
those
doing the whole entire street. That's the long-term
Right.
plan. But
So you're
in the
saying
main one, yeah,
short
in the
term,
main
go
time,
get some speed
Exactly.
bumps. Okay,
Before
got
they
it.
kill somebody out there.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you that our future traffic enforcement is looking forward to playing Super Trooper on Highway 52. All right.
Radar guns.
We ordered some. All right, 17.5, low-lying cables throughout the town.
All right, if you guys see the first picture, this is how they're all supposed to look, perfectly straight. But ever since they put those cement posts, there's a lot of slacks at the bottom ones. Are those Xfinity, Rob?
There should be communication cable, not electrical cable. So it
Yeah,
could be a
so-
variety of them,
Yeah, I
wherever
brought
it
it
is.
up to the manager about 6 months ago. The one near Dale Village, which is the last picture. You guys see between the
Yeah, it's
the
almost down to the
palms?
fence line
Yeah,
there.
pretty much touching the palms. So, JC, can we just find them and get them to come out here and straighten it out?
It's difficult to get a hold of them. They're regulated by the state, but we will get a hold of them again and find out, first of all, who it is, if it's AT&T, Comcast, Crown Castle, whomever it is,
Remember it is.
and get them out here, because I've dealt with this issue before in another capacity, and it's a Herculean task to get them to do anything.
I will tell you, I did meet with the senator and discussing of undergrounding the town. We're on the master list for undergrounding. I'm not sure where we're at. I got to meet with him again and find out the details, but we are on the master list for undergrounding at some point. But I can't tell you where we're at because I have no idea. So,
I think North Miami Beach doing it all over.
Sunny Isles spent $30 million undergrounding, I believe it was. It's a lot of work when it happens, but
Seems like these concrete poles are more economical for them.
yeah, but during hurricane, undergrounding is much
That
better for the
one, that one's
community.
pretty blatant,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah, I see what you're talking about. All right. Let's see here. You still
Is
awake
there
over
a
there?
code on that, Jocelyn? No?
All right, 17.6.
17.6 is something I wanted to
The
do.
wrapping of the traffic
Yeah,
boxes.
something I wanted to do last year. Because our traffic boxes they don't look so good. But then I got indecisive and didn't want to go through with it. I wasn't 100% sure. So I wanted to get you guys' opinion.
Gonna go to the dollar store, get some wrap and wrap them up.
Whatever
What's
works.
the plan?
Whatever works. I think it was budgeted already, JC. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I believe there's money.
We just didn't follow through because, again, I got indecisive, wasn't too sure about it. The plain ones are what most of the high-end cities are doing.
Saying we're not high end over here in Pembroke Park.
Getting there.
Working on it.
So, and our boxes are a lot older than these, so it might be worth
Our
it to wrap.
boxes are covered in old band wrappings.
Old Christmas wrappings.
Old band wrappings and ads for anything and everything.
I think with this wrapping too, we can get the local elementary schools, have an art contest or something, and winners' artwork could be featured on one of those.
Have you seen how our kids color?
We need his colors. Something to brighten them up.
Kind of scared by doing that.
The obscenities all over it.
Hockey players, pucks all over the place. It can be very creative.
Well, it was brought out at some municipalities to where that they entrusted some of their graffiti artists who just couldn't control themselves, and they allowed those opportunities for them. But what we're talking about here is more of a stick-on product,
vinyl
as
wrap.
opposed, as opposed to an actual spray paint. Is that what you're asking for,
I
sir?
believe so. Miriam might answer that a lot better. She worked last year with them. How long do they last, Miriam?
It will last for a long time. Last year, we did find the price. The thing is, when I call FPL, they said they don't allow any of those wrapping on their boxes. They have not. Apparently, they go from city to city. They said the town hasn't had any authorization yet. However, the FDOT can be wrapped. I call some people over there to see in their organization to see, because we need to get their authorization before we can do it.
Can we get FPL to come in and clean up their boxes then?
Yeah, well, we can call them whenever they have graffiti on there, yeah. And our crew also goes and remove the graffiti. So if it's not done quick enough. So,
We need to
How
light a
do we
fire
know
under
which-
'em.
How do you know? We know which ones are FPL and which one are FDOT.
most of the FDAT will be at the intersections. They're usually those signal panels boxes.
They're the big ones.
Yeah, those, I think FPL has maybe a few, but not the majority. What I
Yeah.
was gonna suggest is maybe we can do a survey.
Mostly the major intersections anyway.
Yeah, the most of the major intersections will have
Yeah.
the FDOT boxes.
Yeah. So as soon as finally get in contact with somebody, I probably can, because we already got in contact with the contractor, and they're the one who's saying we need to get the authorization from FDOT.
What I want to do is take an inventory of all the boxes that we have, see if we
He-
identify who they own.
Vice Mayor already.
You
done
already
all
did that?
Yeah, I did that already.
So, and he was going to choose which one. We never got further than that.
Why don't you guys work on it?
I'll send it to you now.
Work on it, bring it back to us.
Gotcha.
Anything else on that?
That's it for me.
All right. 17.7.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Employment of David A. Howard as police chief. This is mine. This is a contract. It's the same contract that the town attorney has, that the town manager has, that the police chief will have. What this contract does is makes David Howard our police chief as of day one of operation of our police department, and puts his salary at $155,000, which is very consistent with $155,000 a year, which is consistent with Broward County for police chiefs for agencies of our size. The contract doesn't start until our day one. So if January, what is it? No, February 1st. February 1st is our open date, or if sooner, whatever that date happens to be, that changes his title from the interim police chief to police chief, and his pay goes from what it currently is, his salary, up to $155,000. The rest is the standard contract that the other two contracted employees have here in the town manager and town attorney. All the time that we went through, we voted to put David Howard in as our contractor to build our department. And for the last 2 years, him and I have been working diligently to get to where we are now with our four officers we have now, and our major, major, I specify. So we're making some progress, but I think this is the next step of going forward. He went through the interview process to get where he was at. He's built this thing. We need to get it up and going. And when you build a ship, you got to have the engineer there to continue on for any hiccups that happen when it comes right out the gate and we get going. It's been 25 years since they've opened a police department here in Broward County. So I don't anticipate any issues coming up. But since David Howard's the engineer of this police department, I'm putting it all together. He's there to make sure it continues going smoothly as we proceed forward. Believe we had a couple votes on him. I don't remember how many, but we've had a couple going forward. So this is what I think we should do. I'm open to any discussion.
Has this contract been vetted by our town attorney?
It has not been through our town attorney yet.
Well, why don't,
So this will be a line item and
Yeah,
have to be
what-
reviewed by our town attorney.
yeah, why don't we have the town attorney view it, then bring it back before us at a later date?
I mean,
No, at the next meeting.
I think we should wait until we have a police department and have him, like all the other interim department heads, prove himself for a year, however long it may take, and then we decide to make him permanent.
We've done that with building the police department. That's why he's been the interim up to the point.
Right, but he doesn't have any staff. We don't have a functional police department. So how can we evaluate him if he don't really?
Yeah, as far as that goes, I wasn't even able to get a resume on the chief. I never even, the town says they don't have a resume on him.
You should have a resume on him. HR should have it, and it should be easily accessible by the town manager. He was voted on long before you were here.
Yeah, but,
So,
well, what I was getting at was, as I mentioned before, we have a democratic way of doing things here where we actually get to have a choice. And if the choice, maybe there's a better chief out there somewhere and we just don't know it because we're not looking for one. But possibly the democratic way would be to have three or four people to pick from, like we have in every other instance, and vote and do the search and
and I'm going to
the interviews. And I'm not trying to credit the gentleman for doing the work that he's done. He's done a pretty good job for somebody who's never done it before. But he's never been a chief before either. Maybe there's a chief out there that could bring something better to the town or bring something more to the town that we don't even know about. So, possibly we should, go look.
Have you been a commissioner before? What's your experience that makes you qualified to be a commissioner?
Same as yours as a mayor. You've never been a mayor before.
No, I have not. But I was a commissioner before I was a mayor. And I've run for public office before I became office
That's fine.
office here.
I'm
My
not,
point being-
I'm not talking about you,
My point
by the
being,
way.
my point being, long before you were even here and appointed to your position, not elected, but appointed to
So
your
you were,
position,
right?
we've discussed David Howard's background, David Howard's experience, and we've continued to vote for him and push him through as our police chief.
Yes, I'm not discouraging anything like that. So I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve any credit or anything like that. What I'm saying is we should have a democratic way of doing things and a choice.
We've had a choice. That's what I'm telling you.
I
We've
haven't had a
choice.
choice.
No, because you're also new
Commissioner
here.
Hodgkins, the thing is, we voted him as interim, which is
Yes,
fine.
as interim,
And
yes.
my thing is, as long as he
Temporary.
can prove himself as a police director, police chief for X amount of time, we could make that determination, do we even need to go out? You know?
Oh, I think
If
there's
he
been,
prove himself, there's
I think there's been
there's no
some
need
bumpy
for it.
roads,
I
coming
don't
up where
think we
things.
have enough to go on because we don't have a fully functional.
The bumpy roads have been caused by our former finance director and our town manager and other staff. That's what's caused the bumpy roads here. Okay, Chief Howard, you want to come up and do the secret police dance that every chief knows?
I'm not allowed to.
Okay, I'm just asking, is there something that we don't know that, makes it super special? It's not, okay? Understand,
Well, we're either gonna be
a
in,
chief is no different than a lieutenant running a division, running a department. I built a photo enforcement department inside a police department. It's no different. He's built this entire department. He's engineered. Imagine building a ship. Let me put it this way. Imagine you take and you lay down your first plank and you build yourself a ship. It takes a lot of work. You need a lot of people involved to make it happen. Me and Chief have spent a lot of time building this up, making this happen. Now he's got staff on board helping. He's got certain people doing this, certain people doing this, certain people doing this.
what I saw was a lot of threats,
on, I am
a lot of
talking.
threats
I'm
being made
talking.
is what I saw.
Talking. You can wait. I'll give you the opportunity. Calm down. Take a breath. So now we got staff on board finishing the construction of this department. Again, the chief is the center kingpin of holding this whole thing together and building it up. Besides me, he's the one doing it. He's put all this effort forth. He's been the interim police chief the whole time. So you take this ship, you get it completely built. Now you launch it into the water. This weekend, by the way, Saturday, the USS Fort Lauderdale is having its christening in Fort Lauderdale. I'd like to see anyone show up there. I'll be there. You're all welcome. But it is, you don't christen the ship and launch the ship and put it out to sea and kick the engineer off. The engineer goes out with that ship. Any problems that come about, he knows where they're at, how to fix it, how to correct it. And that's where I'm seeing you're trying to kick him off the ship.
That's not true.
Actually, it is.
I was
You're
saying-
trying to
I
kick
was
him
saying
off the
that
ship
he's-
before we even start.
Mr. Mayor, he's been doing his job as much as he knows how to do it.
I gotta ask.
He told me himself that he's never been a chief before. He told me that he was a lieutenant, I believe,
This is true.
and that he ran 50 guys. So maybe that's his position here. Maybe he's a great lieutenant.
Let me ask, Chief, how many officers were under your control?
50.
Well, we ran a platoon of about 30 officers, and then we had an additional 20 to 30 officers working details from Wednesday to Saturday evening.
Approximately 60? All right, how big's our department?
20.
Okay, so now you get a fraction of what he covered as a lieutenant. So now you know 60 to 20, that's a big difference.
Yeah, he would make a great lieutenant, for sure.
Can I also add that it was a in the Air Force as a Chief Master Sergeant, and I had 9,000 people under my command in 9 different countries.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it.
Right.
What else? What else do you have to say? I mean, you've been knocking this guy and kicking him
No,
down.
no, I have
every
not.
meeting.
I have not. I'm knocking the process that you don't seem to want to fulfill is the democratic process of having a choice of people to pick from.
Okay, how long have you been here?
A year.
Okay,
September.
how long have we been here?
I have no idea when you came here.
March 2019, we both got elected. There were people in your seat, people in that seat. All these seats were full before we got here. Okay? Through this whole process, I started this process May of 2019. So I started building the police department. We continued on until we hired him as the interim, or not the interim, we hired him as a consultant. Then we made him the interim police chief. We pushed him through, and he's had to jump through every step of the way. He's gone through your democratic, systematic process that you list on the agenda multiple times. He's the only one here in this town that's had to jump through hoops to continue to maintain his position, as there are people here that are there are people inside this town trying to sink the ship, trying to blow it up.
That's not true.
Oh, that is true. Hold on. There are people here within our town that are trying to blow up the ship. Not only that, there are people on the outside that used to sit here, that are also launching torpedoes trying to sink the ship from the outside. I'm telling you what I know, what I've experienced, and what I've been through on trying to build this police department. This has been the hardest thing I have ever done. I built an entire airline, and that was the hardest thing I'd ever done to this point. I built my own airline. There's less than 2,500 people in this country that's ever done that. I'm one of them. The chief, him and I built a police department. Again, 25 years ago was the last time a police department was built here in Broward County.
And it failed.
Wait.
The old police department, right? It failed, right?
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What am I talking
You're
about?
talking about him. I say he's a fine gentleman, and he's doing a good job for what he knows how to do. But maybe there's another person out there that knows more.
I can say the same thing about you sitting in your seat,
That's probably true.
and I guarantee it. But the thing is, you don't even understand what I'm saying. The last
Yes,
police
I am.
department.
You're saying pick him or nobody else, and there's no choice. You're just saying this is the gentleman that needs to be the guy, and that's it.
I'm saying this is the engineer who constructed the entire project along with me to make it to this point. You don't throw the engineer off the ship just before you launch it. That is
Put it for
straight
consent. Put it for
suicide.
consent.
So let me go back to the fact that I don't think you and I are on the same page having the same conversation here, and I'm not sure why. 25 years ago was the last police department built in Broward County. And you're saying it failed. What police department is that? I'm just briefly, what police department is it?
That would be the Lauderhill Police Department.
And is Lauderhill Police Department still fully functional?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. 25 years ago was the last time a police department was constructed in Broward County, and that was 25 years ago, and they're still fully functional. So what you just told me is completely wrong. I don't know where you continue to get your misinformation from, but you were continually coming forward with information that's not accurate. You're getting misguided. I don't know where it's from. I don't want to know at this point. But the information you continue to get about this is misguided. You come forward saying that we're going to be raising the taxes here. I've done nothing but 3.5 years discussing trying to get our tax rate down because we are one of the highest in Broward County. Last meeting, we discussed ad valorem tax, which you didn't even know what ad valorem tax is, which is our tax rate. We're 8.5%.
No,
West
I didn't
Park
understand.
is at 8.5%.
I didn't understand the fire fee thing, because as far as I know, we don't have a fire fee.
Twice now I've explained the fire fee in great detail. So I'm talking ad valorem tax. There's only one municipality in Broward County that has higher tax rate than we do at 8.6. West Park and us are at 8.5. We're the top 3 municipalities in Broward. My goal has been to bring that number down. to bring our taxes down. But you published a paper and you started handing it out to people. You even have it sitting over in the building department. I haven't addressed yet, that talks about the tax burden. And the way you have it written
no,
up.
no, no, no.
Wait, stop. I'm talking. The way you brought it up and the way you have it written leads people to believe that we're going to be increasing the taxes, that this new police department is a burden. As you have it written, people read that and think it's a burden. Now, you said the town attorney authorized it. So the town attorney can't authorize it.
I didn't say she
It's the
authorized it,
commission.
she vetted it. I showed it to her, I showed it to the town manager.
Okay,
I
so
showed
now
it-
she vetted
I
it.
showed it to the powers, are we talking about the police department, or are we gonna talk about
No, I'm
the
saying
flyer
how.
that I put out to get people to come to the meetings?
Okay, but you're scaring people. You're
By
making.
inviting them to come to the meetings?
But you're
to get them
scaring, you're
involved?
scaring people. The verbiage you're using is not correct. It's scaring people. You're making people think our tax rate's gonna go up. You're making people think that we have internal issues here that we do. That's no joke. Sun Sentinel even quoted me as calling this place a shit show. You know, we know that. We've all read the article. It's great because this place was a shithole before we got here. I stand up to that comment that I made because there was nobody steering the ship. Nobody. This thing was a wreck in every which way. It was a money grab from people this way, from employees, from staff, every which way. This place was just a cash cow for everybody, and everyone took advantage of this place. Well, once I got in this seat, that ended. Once I sat down as a commissioner, I started figuring out what was going on. That ended. Start was the police department. Getting the police department intact. We got 21% of our calls go completely unanswered. That means you get someone who comes into your house, you call 911, got a 21% chance someone's not going to show up using those statistics. So as our position is to provide public safety for our community. Now, if you got a 21% gamble, hell, I'm not willing to take that risk. I've made that very clear to BSO. I've made it very clear to the sheriff. Frankly, he doesn't like me, but that's all right. I'm not a likable person.
Back to the point.
But my point is, we put this whole thing together, and you're trying to kick him off at the last point.
I'm not trying to kick anybody off. I'm saying maybe he would be one step under a chief or
Okay, so
something like that. I'm
let's-
not saying
let's
anybody
go
should
here.
get kicked off.
How about this?
So-
What's your experience being a police officer?
Probably better than yours.
Okay, tell me what it is. No, seriously, I want to know. That's a legitimate
I
question.
wasn't a police officer.
Okay, you weren't a police officer. So you've never been a police officer?
No,
Never sworn, never wore a badge?
no.
Guess what? I have.
I heard.
7 years. 7 years as a state trooper. Not only that, I have a bachelor degree in criminal justice criminology with a focus in ethnic studies. Okay? I've spent a lot of time on my career. All right?
How'd that turn out for you?
Well, arresting a politician, I did have an abrupt change of my career. It's what happens in law enforcement. Unfortunately, it's the ugly side. And guess what I learned about? The ugly side of politics, too, which put me into the seat that I'm at. So here we are, building an entire police department where you have no expertise in law enforcement whatsoever. You ever worked with the police chief?
Yes. we
Police
worked-
department?
we Talked together. worked
Outside
together.
the town of Pembroke Park. What's your experience dealing with the police?
What's my experience?
Yeah.
I had friends that were police officers.
Okay, that's cool. Still got friends that are officers. What else do you have?
I don't have any.
That's it?
Yeah, I have friends.
How many
that are in the
businesses have
police.
you owned?
6.
6. Built them up from start up there yourself? Okay, what were those?
They were contracting businesses.
Contracting business. What kind of contracting businesses?
General contract.
General contracting businesses. Okay, so you were a general contractor. Okay, all right. So
I
you
was a
kick your
construction
lead engineer off a project just before the project is finished?
He's not any good.
Okay, so why is Chief Howard not any good? Tell me.
I didn't say to kick him off the project. I said maybe there's somebody else that could run it better, or maybe more knowledgeable.
Well-
I think this has made a lot of mistakes going down the road, and finding out that we should have had licenses that we didn't have. We didn't get it in on time because we didn't know about it, because there wasn't enough information in there, and things like that. That probably cost us money in the long run.
Well, I've made a
So
lot
I've
of
got
mistakes
nothing
in my
against
life,
this
and
police
maybe
department.
one
I
of
got
them
nothing
was an
against Chief
appointment that we
Howard.
made. So,
I was talking, I'm sorry.
okay. Go ahead. Clarify what you need to clarify.
I don't really think I have to clarify it. The whole thing was I wanted a democratic process, and you're denying me that.
I'm not denying you that at all.
Well, that's what you wanted to do.
Listen, so he's been elected, I've been elected, you've been appointed. We're here to represent the best interest of our community across the board.
Exactly.
As we are a commission form of government, it is all 5 commissioners. Unfortunately, we only have 3 to the next election. So we are all here to represent the best interest of our town, of our districts. I cover the vacant districts, while you two cover the other.
All right, so
It's a process. So I'm bringing his contract forward. Let's have the contract reviewed by the attorney and then brought forward at such time it's appropriate.
go ahead.
Okay.
I-
That's your systematic democratic process. So
No, it's not.
if you don't like it, you don't have to vote for it. That's the
I
thing.
understand.
That's
that.
the
It's not
democratic
coming up for
part
a
of
vote.
this.
We're
So
just gonna move it.
there's no reason for me to argue with you because there's no point to it. So do you have anything else you would like to add? Because you like to say I don't give you time to speak. So go for it.
Never mind.
What was that? I didn't quite catch what you said.
No, you wouldn't understand it anyway.
All right. I love your enthusiasm. Ray, do you have anything? No.
Move on.
All right.
We all have our own opinions, and we gotta respect each other's opinion and move on.
Actually, that's the great part. We don't have to like each other. We just have to continue to do what's in the best interest of this town. That's why I love being here. I've dedicated a lot to this community and to this town. Just so you guys know, last week, 71 hours I worked for this town. The week before. Last week was 37 and a half hours. This week so far, before we started this mission, was 26 and a half hours. I dedicate a lot of time to rebuild this community. Because guess what? We have nobody steering the ship. We've had nobody since me and Ray got elected. Until I moved to this seat, there's been no leadership. This town was just all over the place, every which direction. There was no manager here for 2 years. We had a manager here for 5 months. That had to change. We got a new manager in. We're making progress. Now, I'm working my tail off to get this town back in check. There's a lot of problems here. 21% of our police calls do not get answered. That's a huge problem. And that's why we're at where we're at with our own police department. Not only that, look at all the maintenance issues. Guys, I get calls. We're not in compliant from the EPA from 2020. We're on our final extension. I signed tonight our final extension for one of these grants that we have. Final extension for the grant. We're about to lose it if we don't get it done. We got grants outstanding from years that have never been followed up. And some of these are stupid. They need to be completed. We need to get these grants off the table. We haven't had the right people in the right places. And several people have been put in place that are the wrong people for this town. They were put into a place when they shouldn't have been because people like them or one reason or another, who knows. But people were put in that shouldn't have been there, which set the town back farther behind. It's been a continuous cycle with this town. And I'm breaking the cycle. I'm not letting it continue. I'm going to stand up here and stand my ground every which way and just know it's going to be a fight to get this done right and to make this town progress forward. Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of it. The employees here, the staff here has seen the change since I took over. The town, the residents have seen the change here. I get happy texts from residents now of our police cars cruising through the city, even though they're going through the city. That's something that they're taking pride in, not me. Well, I take a lot of pride in seeing it, but our residents take pride in that. They love seeing it. They see the progress here. They see the new building comes in, the new construction every which way. That's big. Things that haven't happened here for years. And it didn't happen because of this commission. It happened because someone decided to take charge and add some leadership to this place and make it happen. I'm trying to get the right people in. I'm trying to, move things around. it is a pain. This place is just a headache sometimes. So, all right. My rant is done. Let's go to 17.8. Joy Brown pay. You guys all received the a printout that Joy has been working double duty as the for the police department as the police administrator and also the assistant to the commissioners and the events coordinator. Have you taken the time to read the letter yet?
I read it.
Okay. This gives her the back pay for her position of doing double duty. This is very consistent with how things have been done in this town with people who've had added responsibility to their positions because of lack of other employees or people not being there. So this brings her pay up, I remember seeing the number here, $480.80 per week for the time she spends working for the commission outside working for the police department, with the back pay back to October of 2021, a total of 21,000. Sorry, let me read this, Ms. Brown. Retroactive pay of $21,155.21. The figures are based on her 24.04 per hour at 20 hours per week, which is 408.80, as I stated before. The town is in the 44th week of the fiscal year. This is from Chief Howard, believes that Ms. Brown should continue to receive her additional compensation until the end of the fiscal year when the events coordinator, administrative assistant to the commission is expected to be filled. As we discussed earlier, August 15th, we will have our HR director in here, and one of her primary responsibilities will be to get that position filled, the PIO assistant to the commission and the events coordinator position. So then this will no longer be in effect. This is the same thing that we just did with Christian in finance. So I guess I need to ask our finance director, can I have you come up for a minute? Wait, total, let me read the last. It says the compensation would be, okay, between now and then. All right. So this puts us at 21,155.20 in back pay. Do we have that available?
There is a vacant position. I don't have the exact amount of the total impact, but there is a vacant position that can cover that cost.
Okay. And double duty is, I guess this is the town manager. This is consistent with other positions that have been here in town?
As far as double duty, I guess, in the interim, filling in like Christian was interim. Yeah, I guess there is precedent in the past.
Okay.
So you have somebody that's working 60 hours a week?
No, this was like Christian, for example, when after our previous finance director left, filled in on an interim, and so they, the commission gave her interim pay.
Okay. So this is actually saying 20 additional hours a week, so she wasn't working 60 hours a week, right?
As far as Christian, no, Christian wasn't working 60 hours a week.
No, I mean Joy.
I don't.
And then for that position, the additional position?
The additional position is for 20 hours per week is what it says right here.
So that leaves another 20 hours for her other position. Right?
I believe the Breast Brown should receive retroactive pay, which is currently 21. The figure is based on 2404 per hour, 20 hours per week, which is 480.40. Now, I know you don't understand how much work comes out of that office with the assistant, but I will tell you, I'm on the phone with her from as early as 6 or 3 a.m. if you were in a 3-hour time zone difference, and she doesn't understand that you're in a 3-hour time zone difference.
So the 3 a.m. wake up calls, but 6 a.m. to even 9, 10 p.m. at night, we are communicating over events, things for the town, everything that's going on that we're dealing with. She's always working. She's always available. I don't know what your interaction with her is and how much you use her, but I use her for absolutely everything for the mayor's office. So she does all our planning of all our events. She is there from the start to finish for every one of our events. I can't tell you more. I mean, we've been there at 6 in the morning with the delivery trucks till 10 o'clock at night for our food drives. So she's always there. So if it's, maybe 20 hours a week here, it may be 15 there,
I use her a great deal also.
But she's a salaried for her. She's salaried under your position, right? Is it salaried under administrative assistant?
I believe it is.
Or I'm sorry, police
Police chief assistant.
chief assistant. Yeah.
So it comes out of the police department's budget.
Well, there's a vacant position, that we have vacant positions here in town where that would come out of, because the administrative assistant to the commissioner, the PIO, and event coordinator position is a vacant position that was supposed to be filled last year. It hasn't been filled. It's been sitting vacant since, I believe, last summer. Maybe longer than that. It's been vacant for a year and a half. We haven't put someone in there. So, but it's time we move someone into that position, as the responsibilities for the police administrator is a full-time position. So I'm for moving forward with giving the retroactive back pay and the extra 480 per week until that position is filled.
I agree.
Fortunately, I don't
mean,
have
she-
enough information that I could say yes or no. I mean, I don't know how many hours she puts in, but to me, this looks like she's working way too many hours. So good for her.
I will tell you, if I put in 71, she's right there with me. If I put in 37 and a half, most of that is back and forth with her and I, me and Marlon, me and the chief, me and JC. We don't have a work schedule per se. We were on the phone till 8 o'clock last night. You and I were on the phone this morning. We had a meeting this morning. You and I talked yesterday. It doesn't stop around this place. This is a 24/7 business. So,
Yeah,
what would you like to do?
I
What
agree,
questions you
moving
have?
forward. I'm not sure with the numbers. Maybe the finance guy could work that out, but more responsibility, she should be compensated for that.
I agree with that. Somebody's working 60 hours a week, they need to get paid for 60 hours a week.
So do you want to move this to a line item, or do you want to move this to consent?
Fine with consent, but if you guys are sure with the numbers.
I'm fine with consent, as I met with Roy earlier and discussed this.
And it is.
Consent it is.
All right, on the consent. Town clerk comments.
Well, actually, sir, you have one more item
Oh.
that we had talked about,
Yep, I'm sorry.
which is,
Solid waste.
15, or 17.9, the amendment settlement agreement. Let me pull it up because I have it here in the email. You guys need to be aware of this.
well, I went back, sir, and we did approve Amendment 1 back on February 11th.
I saw Amendment 1, I went back and saw that. I
Right.
don't see Amendment 2.
No, I never received Amendment 2, and when I went upstairs to look at my emails, I didn't see that it had been forwarded to us.
I'm gonna go through my emails to look too.
I can call tomorrow and see if we did not get Amendment 2 and make sure we're all up to snuff so we can get them both. If there is an Amendment 2, get it approved.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
And
If there's
Amendment
Amendment 2, can you make sure Amendment 2 and Amendment 3 are line items on the next meeting? And let me look here, Mary Lou. So what this is the amendment to the RRB settlement agreement. This is the third amendment to the settlement agreement between Broward County and the settling municipalities. I'll just read the top real quick. This is the third amendment to the settlement amendment by and between Broward County, Florida, a political subdivision of the state of Florida, and the cities of Sunrise, Weston, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Lauderhill, Lighthouse Point, Tarmac, I'm gonna mess that up. Plantation, Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Miramar, Margate, Cooper City, North Lauderdale, Coral Springs, and Wilton Manors, and the towns of Lauderdale by the Sea, Davie, Southwest Ranches, Hillsborough Beach, the Village Sea, Ranch Lakes, each individual municipality, and collectively settling municipalities. Each of these foregoing sometimes referred to as the party or collectively as parties. Might have missed a sentence there. Take the time to read through these. These are, we have, I don't see two. So I'm wondering if there was, would you happen to know, Attorney, do you know if there was a number two?
I believe there was.
I thought there was, but
I don't know the status of Pembroke Park's approval of the Second Amendment, but I believe there was a Second Amendment to the ILA.
okay, I thought there was two, but I don't. I'm looking through here. I see three and I see one, but I don't see two.
I'll call tomorrow and get them.
Okay. These, take the time just to read them. These are through the county and the League of Cities. So this is Amendment 2 and 3 to the agreement. So if you take the time, we'll go over them as a line item at the next commission meeting. All right, town attorney comments?
I do have one. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Clerk Commissioner. It's nice to be with you this evening. The item on your agenda is an ordinance amending the city's towing provisions. In 2002, and let me just preface this by saying this is a bit of a housekeeping item for a lot of reasons. In 2020, the legislature amended state law as it relates to the fees that a municipality can collect from a towing company or a wrecking company. The city is no longer permitted to collect franchise fees and other types of fees associated with that type of operation. What the ordinance before you would do would remove all of the references in our code which would currently conflict with these recently amended provisions of state law. So in part, this is housekeeping. The other part of the ordinance provides a establishment of a list for the city to maintain of qualified wreckers and sets out specific criteria for those types of vendors to be eligible to join the city's list on a rotational basis to provide those particular services to the town.
The only question I have is I saw all the requirements in here, you know, parking within 10 miles, all that. Is there a number of how many required, or is it a minimum of one?
Talk about the distance?
No, I'm looking at all the parameters like it says here, but it doesn't say if there's a requirement of having how many you can have or.
Are you towing contract?
Yeah.
No, I believe it's any eligible vendor, anyone who meets the criteria.
Anyone who meets the criteria listed below.
And join the list. They can apply to the city manager to join the list and
Okay.
be part of the rotation for which the city pursued those services.
Right, and I see here that it goes through the town attorney for, or I'm sorry, the town manager for approval.
Correct.
Okay. All right, any questions on this?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
All right. Let's
May-
put this as a line item.
Well, this is an ordinance, so I have to, yes, it'll be
Line item.
Yes, sir.
Did I introduce you in the beginning?
Oh, but that's okay. Mayor.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. Go ahead and introduce
Hey,
yourself.
thank you, Mayor. For the record,
I'm sorry, I was talking to you, it totally slipped my mind.
Jacob Horowitz, I actually have been special counsel to the town for about 6 or 7 years now. We had the opportunity to work with your prior city attorney, and we continue to work with your current city attorney. We have the privilege of representing you in a number of code enforcement matters, foreclosure matters. Your code officer referenced earlier my law partner, Brian Sherman, who's currently counsel in a number of those pending foreclosure and code enforcement matters. We also provide special counsel services to the town from time to time. Over the years, we've worked quite a bit with Melissa's predecessor in the context of coordinating with the Inspector General's office regarding a number of investigations that have occurred in the past prior to the current administration being in place.
Right.
So we've had the privilege of representing the town for some number of years, and it's certainly my pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you, and I do apologize. It totally right over.
No problem, Mayor. Thank you for that.
All right. Backtracking, town clerk comments.
Actually, I placed on your desk it says The Race, and it's a poem. And no, I'm not going to read the poem, but I wanted to.
Go ahead. Why don't you recite it for us?
Do you want me to recite
No,
the poem?
we're good.
No. As I mentioned to you in the past, whenever we've attended conferences, sometimes we leave and we get very little out of it. And once in a while, we get a really good one. And the last one I was in, I found was extremely helpful. And that poem was part of it. It said, you can't walk through a pig pen without getting your feet dirty. So that was part of it. And it had that poem. And I just thought it's one of those poems that stays in your heart because it talks about a little boy who fell and fell and fell during the race. He fell 3 times, and at the end he went through it, but he was the last one to pass the line. And when he passed, all the crowd cheered because he had gone ahead and he had passed the line. It really resonated in me when she went ahead and read it, and I just wanted to share with all of you. It was like I said, it was one of those conferences that you enjoy. And I mentioned this to staff in the past, and I thought I wanted to mention it to all of you as well. In the conference, one of the things that also stayed in my mind was the fact of how we struggle with our controls and how we want to control certain things, and we really don't have control over a lot of things. But that being said, there are things we do have control over. And it's one of those things where we choose to have control over things, and we have the ability to have control over our own happiness. We have control over, the persons that we are and the way that we treat others and we treat ourselves. And I think we need to focus more on what we can control and kind of let go of the things that we just don't have control over. So just wanted to share that with you guys.
Thank you.
Side note: have you ever walked through a pig pen?
Yes, I have.
Smells horrible.
It's awful.
It's
It is awful. I was 4 years old, and I still remember it today.
Smell sticks in your skin for an extended amount of time. All right. Town manager comments.
Mayor, thank you. Happy to report, I spoke with Gloria earlier this week and today as well, as they've been coming in. But as far as the renewals for our health insurance, there's been no increase at all for health, dental, I believe life and disability. It just hasn't been any increase, so that's great news. And that's all I have, sir.
Okay. I have a request before the next meeting. Can you guys put an estimated date on the time for clearing some of these grants out that we can discuss at the next workshop?
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner comments. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Complaints?
Sorry?
Complaints?
Right?
Yeah, do you have any complaints? I asked last time.
I don't have
All right,
any
comments or complaints? I'm going to ask again. Ray, comments, complaints?
None, but I do have a question for JC.
Sir.
How often do you just drive through the town? Like, not to a job site or to give a tour or anything like that, just to see what's going on?
I drive around every day.
Really?
Yeah, every day after lunch, I drive around town.
All right,
I'll
'cause
drive
I-
different
The
sections.
reason I ask is, as you know, I text you a lot of pictures of, violations, and sometimes I wonder, do you even see them? Or
No,
just-
I drive around, I drive through town every day. After lunch, that's part of my routine.
Okay, I was just
And
curious.
I'll go to a different area.
Yeah, please, because again, I could show you how many pictures that I have on my phone of violations.
Well, let's get together and I'll see them, because, I don't see everything, I see something.
No, I
but-
don't expect you to know everything. Some are so obvious.
Sure.
but
Okay.
That was it for me. Thanks.
Anything else? All right. Only comments I have is, I got to tell you again, the amount of complaints coming out of code enforcement has dropped drastically. Thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate that. Not that I minded them, we needed it, but things are getting less. You guys are still, I should have asked earlier, you guys are still pushing forward with the, our program, the amnesty program. I saw that we only had one person this month. Do we have people even inquiring about it? Do we need to send out another notice about it? Come on up, Miguel. I'm sorry, I meant to ask you earlier, but I put you on the spot again.
No problem.
We only had one this month.
We only had one this month applying. Yes, we are other individuals inquiring. Unfortunately, because of the conditions of the amnesty, that is only for residents and persons living on those areas.
Right.
We have inquiry about people that, unfortunately, they don't even qualify. Yeah, we've been providing the information, but when you rent the place or you don't even have the information that leads that you live on that place, nor that you receive information on that particular place, we cannot just approve you because that will be a disservice to the instructions of the commission.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're still offering it, we're still pushing it.
Yes, we're always pushing it.
Getting
Staff code.
getting
and-
people who qualify.
I beg your pardon?
Getting people who qualify.
Yes, sometimes some of them are a little bit afraid, and also, unfortunately, and this is a big unfortunately, while we have a pool of experienced engineers and architects that we provide the information based on the previous work as a public records, the mobile home owner or the property owner, because it's also for other type of properties, except for commercial properties, they when they contact the architects or engineers, in the case of mobile homes, they don't want to touch the mobile homes. They don't want to touch the additions of the mobile homes.
Right.
They don't want it to do anything to do with the mobile homes. Unfortunately, we have two competing factors, like I always mention about the mobile homes. You have the mobile home itself, which is part of the housing and urban development, which is HUD, which it has certain conditions, and then you have the additions, which is the one that we basically focusing into that because they're based on the Florida Building Code, and those are the ones that FEMA previously has outlined to us, and not FEMA, the State Floor Manager's Office during the CAF or the Community Assisted Visit Office that they have on the town. So we are in a catch-22. Sometimes those additions, they don't even comply with FEMA. They don't even comply with the flood provisions. They don't even comply even with the architects, engineers. We have 3 of them right now that they are applying for the program, but the architect says, I will never certify that. What I'm going to do?
I get it.
If your designer says, I will never, quote, I will never certify that, they asked me, Miguel, can you certify? I said, no, I cannot certify. I'm the one who's actually enforcing the conditions of the building code. I cannot certify for you. So what do? I had to leave it to them to solve the problem, unfortunately.
Okay.
It just, like you have mentioned, Mayor, is the lack of enforcement, the lack of oversight, the lack of determination of individuals on that dais on the past, and at the same time, and I'm not advocating for anything or saying anything, and also other staff that was never remove the blight that is happening. We are trying to do with the service of Chief Ramirez and also with Lucy as my administrative assistant, and also with now with Lisa that just came here based on BTR. So it's a daunting task just to try to help them help themselves.
Thank you. That's exactly what we needed.
Thank you, sir.
Rob Clark, can I have you up here for a second? I had a meeting with JC earlier this morning, and we were talking about our RFPs and hold on, let me go back to my notes so I got it right here. Give me
About advertising there in the building department.
Yeah, oh, not just there, but hold on, let me grab my notes so I don't mess this up. So our RFPs, no, hold on, wrong. Well, nope, I keep bringing up the wrong one. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, RFP, RFQs, we list them on the government web, or on the website, what is it, JC? The
Demand
Man
Star?
Star?
Thank you. Thank you. So I asked, where else can we put stuff out? Because this is like when you're looking for a job and you go to one source and you use that same source all the time looking for the employees, you're fishing out of that same pond. But when you expand that to several different sources, you're fishing in either a bigger lake or even the ocean. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So when we're going out, we're fishing in the same pond over and over and over again. I was looking at some sources that we could use to advertise to make it a little easier. Simple things that don't cost us money. Like we have a list, simple list that we leave down in the building department. We have a lot of contractors coming in and out that has what we're going out for, the open date, the close date, so they can just grab the form and see what we have, you know. Maybe putting up on our display boards as well. We have people stopping by town hall on both sides, so we got those boards up out there. So simple things to try and get other people into the bidding process, open it up a little bit so it's not just the same pond that we're always in. Just trying to come up with some ideas on how to expand out a little bit and get more interest when we go out for these RFPs I'm tongue-tied tonight. Going out for bid. Simple solution. Talk to JC about it today. You know, it might be a simple fix. Maybe we get some more contractors involved, and maybe we get some progress on getting these old grants done with. I mean, some of these, I think we have a couple that are out 5 years. You know, we gotta get these things done. I'm
Yeah,
hearing
so
it every which direction. So I know. Remember when we brought you on, or I brought you on, we had that discussion how difficult it's going to be. But we gotta get these done and done with. We don't need to be sitting on these things any longer.
Yeah, I support that 110%. And me and my team, what we have done is, just pretty much come down to calling them directly, meaning that we found out a listing of, let's say we needed an electrical contractors. We called the electrical contractors out and say that we have a bid set up this day. But you have to understand is that not everyone, for example, the CDBG that we're working on now with the park lighting, not everyone is equipped, based on the premise to follow the stringent rules and regulations.
I got it. The qualifications to meet.
The qualifications in order to bid. Like, give an example. One of the qualifications that a person has to come up with is they have to have a listing of employees and the hours that they work on that particular job.
I get it.
And what they pay them and stuff like that. And so very seldom people want to come in and open their books. However, we have been contacting contractors directly and requesting them to put a bid in on our projects that we have. So we're working diligently towards that. We should have a call list if you'd like to see it.
Remember, we're still trying to shake off the
Yep.
old Pembroke Park
Yes, sir. I get it.
staleness and bring in new. So
Yep.
I'm just looking at other alternatives. If they don't qualify, they don't qualify. But at least it puts it out there where people can see it and gives other contractors an opportunity.
And that's
So-
another thing that we want to put through the procurement process is that we're looking for more piggybackable contracts, and I use that term, but contracts from which we can utilize in our procurement process to get in contact with already vetted and qualified contractors to perform the tasks that we need. So I'm reading through those. And Demand Star actually advertised with the other prevailing companies that look to provide contract work or the crafts.
I got it. Just wanted to bring the conversation forward so you're in
Got
on it as
sir.
well.
We'll work on it.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I have nothing more but announcements. Tomorrow is your guys' meeting, JC?
Sorry?
Tomorrow is your meeting with D. Carper and Connie? You're going to be here for this?
I had rescheduled it. I hadn't even told them about it. That's why I apologize. I rescheduled it and we got it.
Okay. The meeting's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is, yes, at 1:30. I'll give you a call.
I'll call you.
I want you there to see where we're at with all of this. You know, I know You're behind the curve.
Connie, I know. Yeah.
Connie and D. Carper, and Public Works, the police department, everyone, you know. But for the commissioner being there, I'd really like you to see all of the bigger picture of what we have going on here. So, announcements, State Representative Marie Woodson is putting on a Preventing the Rise of Gun Violence Saturday, August 6th at 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Washington Park Community Center. The location is 5199 Pembroke Park, Hollywood, Florida. If you guys would like to attend, she has extended an invitation to all of us and residents alike and staff. So if anyone wants to go, please go. Regular commission meeting will be Wednesday, August 10th at 7 p.m. We do have a food drive again on Saturday, August 13th at 11 a.m. 6 a.m. I'll be there, and we'll have our volunteers there starting early in the morning to divide everything up. So everyone is welcome to be there bright and early at sunrise. I'll provide the coffee and bagels again. So always a good time. We have a special magistrate hearing Wednesday, August 17th, 2022 at 9 a.m. The back to school backpack giveaway will be Saturday, August 20th, 2022 at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And our next workshop commission meeting will be August 24th at 6 p.m. All right, everyone's absolute favorite part. Time is now, I don't even know what it is.
9:40.
Sure, 9:40 p.m. and we'll say adjournment.